Thank you and good evening. Time to take our seats. I know this is such an opportunity to speak with each other, but there will be time for that, and also to honor and to look back and to look into the future. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dana Tyler, and it is very, very nice, thank you, to be back again emceeing this event. This is my third time. Third time's a charm, right? Hazuka? I got nothing? Hazuka? I practiced all afternoon on that. I recognize many of your faces, and I feel in a very comfortable place not only to be with you here tonight, but to honor and to learn more about the history of the courageous partisans, to pay tribute in person to them, those who risked their lives in the dangerous forests and endless landscapes 70 years ago, those who are still with us, as well as their descendants who proudly share their ancestors' stories with us and help preserve that history, which is also, of course, as we know, part of the mission of the Jewish Partisan Educational Foundation, the reason we're here tonight, their guests. We are also tonight paying tribute to the Bielski brothers, whose story many of us know and learned about in the 2002 film Defiance, more than 7 decades ago, led by their commander, Tuva Bielski. Everybody all right? Tuva Bielski. The brothers Zeus and Ansel rescued more than 1,200 Jews fleeing from the Nazis and their collaborators. The Bielski Triad provided a safe haven for all Jews. For 3 years, they survived in the forests of Belarus. They engaged in armed combat and disrupted the Nazi war machine with acts of sabotage. But their primary mission was preserving Jewish lives through their incredible self-sufficient camp that provided support on every level to the fighters, from clothing to weaponry. Their act of defiance by the Bielskis, saying, "Our revenge is to live," means today nearly 20,000 people owe their lives to the brothers and the partisans of the Bielski Triad. This evening, we honor the Bielski legacy. We're very fortunate to have Aaron Bell, the youngest and only surviving Bielski brother, here, and more than 15 Bielski partisans in the room, here tonight with us. We are also joined by over 150 descendants of the Bielski Triad. We're fortunate to have 8 partisans from other brigades with us as well. And for the first time, we will recognize partisan grandchildren who are preserving their families' legacies for future generations. Our keynote speaker, who's going to mix it up and give a different kind of a speech this evening, you'll be very honored to be part of this, is Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz. Famed civil rights lawyer is here. Erwin Kotler, he was scheduled to speak with his good friend Alan, is unable to join us tonight because he is not doing well, just sick this evening, and we wish him a speedy recovery. We're sorry that Mr. Kotler cannot be here. Let's start things off with a more deeper look into exactly what does the Jewish Partisan Educational Foundation do, what it is about. Please take a look at this film. Please welcome now JPEF's president, Elliot Felsen, the son of a Lithuanian Jewish partisan, and then Mitch Braff, JPEF's founder and executive director. Gentlemen.
Thank you, Dana. Wow, you look around the room here, and I'm so moved to see you all here, and I can't believe this night is finally here, and I just welcome you all. Before I begin, I want to acknowledge our honorary international chairman of JPEF and his wife, Dr. Charles and Sarah Bedzo, and their guests for the evening, Rabbi Abraham Shem Tov, Chairman International of Lubavitch and Chabad, Rabbi Moshe Herson, Dean of Rabbinical College of America, and Dr. Alan Kadish, President of Touro College. I would also like to acknowledge and thank our board member, founding president, and chair emeritus, Paul Orbuck, for the tireless work he put into JPEF. I'd like to call out a thank you to all our board members, Danny Petrosek and John Kushner, who are here tonight, our staff, and especially Sherry Pearl. I want to thank you all for your tremendous work in organizing this event tonight. Of course, none of this would have been possible without our executive director, Mitch Braff, which I want to thank from the bottom of my heart. He was amazing. I'd like to thank our dinner chairpersons, John Alper, Dr. Charles and Sarah Bedzo, Alan and Robin Bell, Ronald and Marcia Gasworth, Charles and Cyril Kushner, Kim and Jonathan Kushner, and Paul Orbuck and Lisa King. Finally, I'd like to thank Dr. Alan Dershowitz for coming and being part of our program tonight. My father, Don Felsen, Oliver Sholem, loved Nechama textbook, Defiance, and about the Bielski Partisan Brigade, and brought out the book and referred to it often. He was so proud there was a written record of the Jewish partisans, and used this to help me understand what his experience was like when he was a partisan in Lithuania. The Bielskis have always been an integral part of our work, and they always will be. We have films and study guides on the Bielskis, and even an online course. JPEF was sought out by Hollywood film studio Paramount Vantage for the film Defiance as paid consultants, helping with historical accuracy and educational opportunities. Yes, we told them that the tank would never really have happened in the end, but they didn't listen. So that's Hollywood. My family and I support JPEF because this is the only organization that ensures the partisan stories like that of the Bielskis, the Grinspun Group, the Kovner Group, the Gruber Group, not only are never forgotten, but will be taught to all students everywhere. It is not only important to teach this to correct the myth that the Jews do not fight back against the Nazis. It is important to teach people that, like the partisans, young people can make a difference in fighting against injustice, discrimination, and anti-Semitism wherever it occurs. And when they do stand up, it sometimes can result in an organization like ours being honored. I have some very exciting news this week that the Slingshot Fund, a major Jewish philanthropic organization focused on Jewish innovation, JPEF was being named as one of the top 50 Jewish organizations in the country. For, among other things, offering a way in to Jewish identity for Jews and Jewish history for non-Jews that resonates in the 21st century. We are very proud about receiving this distinction. So thank you for coming and for your support. I look forward to sharing the rest of the program with you tonight. Thank you. Mitch Braff.
Good evening. You know, JPEF, many of you may know this, but we celebrate our 13th birthday this year. And so, to me, this event also feels like a bar mitzvah party, doesn't it? And like someone studying for his bar mitzvah, I knew nothing before I began my studies about the Jewish partisans. I didn't even know what a partisan was. Now I have the pleasure to work with an amazing staff and board transforming millions of young people through the history and the life lessons of the Jewish partisans. Young people just like me who didn't know what the Jewish partisans were now do because of JPEF's work. My partisan studies included many books and articles that I was especially transformed by Tex and Duffy's wonderful books on the Bielskis. I was so intrigued about this incredible family, I had to learn more including speaking to helpful Bielski family members, many of them, but especially Robert and Zvi. We are saddened by Zvi's passing, and I want you all to know that his teachings on the Bielskis have made it into our work, and they will live on through what we do forever. The Bielskis are an integral part of our teacher trainings, classes, printed guides, and films, including a new film tonight we're going to see narrated by Liev Schreiber. I'm so happy to have so many Bielskis in the house tonight. A special nod to my friend Aaron Bell, sitting right here. There are hundreds of thousands of teachers out there, and we want them all to learn about the Bielski brothers and the Jewish partisans. We have reached over 7,000, and our goal is 100,000 more educators in the next 10 years. We have found a way to do this. Just like major universities who are teaching millions through online learning, we are doing the same thing. Over the past 4 years, we have developed a powerful e-learning tool allowing teachers to take our classes online. And thanks to you, our donors, this is free. Most classes are all under an hour. And I'm very excited to share that JPEF has partnered with our friends at Touro College to make online learning even more accessible to educators. With their assistance, by early next year, teachers will get continuing education credit for taking JPEF classes online. You can help us too. When you get home tonight or tomorrow morning, join our community and get involved. Share our free resources at www.jewishpartisans.org. Take a course, watch a film with your kids or grandkids or students, and share with other teachers in your life. Join our Facebook group. I'm just making sure this is up, and actually it's kind of working, isn't it? Facebook.com/JewishPartisans. Also tonight, any Twitter users in the house? Try us. JPAF Bielski Dinner. Please post your hashtag, your pictures, your tweets here, and we'll all share this. Help us honor the Bielski legacy and the legacy of all the partisans all over the world. Thank you and good night. Actually, I shouldn't have ended that last thing with good night. Thank you, and it is my pleasure to bring to the podium two wonderful people, Bielski family members. We have Jay Bielski, who is the son of Zeus Bielski. And we have Jonathan Weinstein, Yo-Yo to his friends, a Soil Bielski son. He came from Israel a couple days ago to speak tonight. They're the next part of our program. Gentlemen, thank you. Thank you.
My name is Jay Bielski. Yaakov Bielski is Jonathan Bielski. Weinstein. It's wonderful to be here. This is a script because I normally don't speak so nice. This is a script. It's wonderful to be here honoring my father Zeus and my uncles Tuvia Asael and Archik, who's here, Aaron Bielski. It's a great honor being here tonight. I'm happy that Jonathan, Asael's grandson, is here to be here all the way from Israel.
My mother, Asi, never met her father, my grandfather, who was killed in a battle after he volunteered to join the Red Army. I came to celebrate with you and to honor the Bielski partisans who are with us. We want to thank the JPEF for bringing us all together and for all the important work you do educating young people about Jewish resistance.
16 Bielski partisans are here in the room with us tonight. JPEF has created a special medallion in honor of this occasion and to honor the Bielski partisans here tonight. It's really quite beautiful. One side contains a verse from the partisan song, "We Are Here," which I think is really indicative of everyone here tonight. The other side shows the Bielski Atriot and reads, Honoring Commander Tevye Bielski, his brothers and partisans of the Bielski Otriad. Each Bielski partisan here with us tonight will be presented with this medallion by a grandchild. As we call your name in alphabetical order, and this will be called by our guest of honor, Jay and Jonathan, please, partisans and stand up, but everyone, please hold your applause till all 16 names are read.
First name is Charles Betzo, and presenting the medallion to his granddaughter, Michal Oshman. He told me some story today, boy. I wish I could repeat it.
Aaron Bell. Presenting the medallion is his grandson, Justin Bell.
That's the real McCoy right there, Aaron. If you haven't heard about him speak, he's a great speaker. You can see him on YouTube. He's amazing. 2-hour interview, it's like being in the movies. The next person will be Paula Berger, presenting the medallion to her granddaughter, Jessica Gruer.
Judith Ginsburg. Presenting the medallion is Judith Ginsburg, sorry. Presenting her medallion is her granddaughter, Tama Tamarki.
Where are they?
I thought I see
Big fan club there. Next person is Bella Goldfisher Wagner. Presenting the medallion is Courtney Emma Cloud, granddaughter of the Jewish partisan Israel Gorovitz. May he rest in peace.
Leah Bedzovsky Johnson. Presenting the medallion is her granddaughter, Whitney Sommer.
Hold on a second. Okay, here she is there. Okay, next.
The next person is Jerry Kedenau. Presenting the medallion is Rabbi Michael Bashist, grandson of a Bielski partisan.
Lola Klein. Presenting the medallion is her cousin, Chad Friedman.
Lola was the infant that was hidden in a non-Jewish house during the war, and actually they had to fight to get her back. So she's come a long way, baby. The next person is Cantor Yitzhak Kohl. Presenting the medallion is his granddaughter, Tali Stram.
Helen Kugelmas. Presenting the medallion is Stacy Gasworth Kaplan, the granddaughter of Bielski partisan Leon Buxton.
The next one's for Saul now. Everybody knows Saul. Saul Lapidus, presenting the medallion, is his granddaughter, Danielle Frankel, and Rabbi Philip Lazowski, presenting the medallion, is his granddaughter, Alexa. I think I made two.
That's good.
All right,
That's fine.
We go on to those.
Willie Moll. Presenting the medallion is Howard Konopko, grandson of Bielski partisan Luba and Herschel Konopko.
Hold on a second. They're over there. See? Medallion. Picture.
The next person is Anne Manka. Presenting the medallion is our granddaughter, El Faye Manka.
Mira Shelub. Presenting the medallion is her niece, Heather Rosnow.
The next one is the very famous, world-renowned baby partisan who actually said she carried a weapon, Essie Shore. Present the medallion is her granddaughter, Carly Friedman.
Michael Stoll. Presenting the medallion is Micha Rosenblum, grandson of Bielski Partisan Israel and Helen Lavit.
Stand in front of the mic so everybody hears you.
Following the script here, unfortunately, many Bielski partisans known to JPEG, whose health prevented them from joining, including my mother, Sonia. Each will receive the medallion after the event. In addition to my mother, they include Leon Bask, Sam Block, Liam Brask, Faye Drock, Sheila Guberman, Sam Katz, Esther Krug, Helen Levitt, Gittel Morrison, Rachel Plotnick, Lisa Rabel, Morris Rosnow, Sarah Rosnow, Max Wishman, Simon Zelkovich, and Alfred Zenner. Oh, okay. Here, now I get off the script a little bit here. Tonight, myself and my brother are joined by many of our Bielski cousins, including the children, the grandchildren of my aunts and uncles, Estelle, Joshua, Nathan, Tanya, and Walter Bielski. Unfortunately, well, I got a story to tell you. Mickey Bielski is here, Tuvia's son. And I spoke to Mickey yesterday. He called me by mistake, of course. You know, these Freudian mistakes. So he calls me up, he tells me, I got a story to tell you. Your brother Tzvika, my brother died April 12th. He went all around the world telling about the Bielskis, but more importantly, telling him that, there were 6 million people who died, and only a few family pulled this off. So his message was, anyone that he spoke to could pull it off. And looking at you guys, especially the third generation and my grandkids, who are named Zeus. One of them is named Zeus, the first one. Where's Danny? There we go. So any one person, any one family could pull this off. Unfortunately, there were very few of the Bielski type families around. So anyway, going back to the Mickey story, Mickey tells me, Tzvika, my youngest brother, who's, by the way, we are all Israeli soldiers here, including Yonatan, myself, my 2 sons, my brother who died. So let me go back to Mickey's story. Mickey calls me up and said, Tzvika tells me the story, and I know the story. He was so proud of being a paratrooper in the Israeli army that he told my father, I jump out of airplanes, I just went to Florida to get a couple extra jumps in. I'm a real He-Man. So my father looks at him, Mickey's telling me the story, he says, yeah, real He-Man. You jumped, but you had a parachute. Meaning that when they were in the forest, there was no parachute. There was no safe landing. It just so happened that we're here. So that's the story. When you go out there and you put yourself on the line, sometimes there are no parachutes, as Sherry would know. So to all of you guys, thanks for coming. And remember the Bielskis for one thing. Any one of us could do this again. And we may have to.
It is now our pleasure to call upon Cantor Shira Ginsburg, granddaughter of Judith Ginsburg.
We've had a surprise guest who is going to sing the partisan song tonight. Please welcome Jewish partisan Anne Manka to sing the partisan song.
Good evening. My name is Ann Monka. I'm here with my brother Michael Stoll and my sister Bella. And because of the heroism of my brother, who happened to manage to open a train that went to Majdanek, and he was not as big a hero as Stevie, but he managed to open a door from a train that could rescue 50 people, and they all froze. But my sister Bella jumped, and my father of late memory, Zikaron Libracha, made it. And because of the heroism of my brother, I have a sister and I had a father. Sag nicht kein wohl als du gehst den letzten Weg, weil Himmeln bleien verstellen bleuen Tag. Kommen wird zu uns die Hausgebänkte Schau, es wird erbeugt an unser Trott, wir seien da. Kommen wird zu uns die Hausgebänkte Schau, es wird erbeugt an unser Trott, wir seien da. Von weißen Palmenland bis weißem Land von Schnee. Wir kommen an mit unser Pein, mit unser Weh. Und wo gefällt dieser Spritz von unser Blut? Sprossen Wetter, unser Gwure, unser Mut. Und wo gefällt dieser Spritz von unser Blut? Sprossen Wetter, unser Gwure, unser Mut. Das Lied geschrieben ist mit Blut und nicht kein Blei. Das ist ein Lied von nicht kein Vögel und der Frei. Das hat ein Volk zwischen Fallen die gewähnt. Die Lied gesungen mit Naganes in die Hand. Das hat ein Volk zwischen Fallen die gewähnt. Die Lied gesungen mit Naganes in die Hand. Es wird der Morgenson begilden uns dem Heind, und der Nächten wird verschwinden mit und Feind. Und neu versammeln wird die Sonne mit ihr Kajor, wie a Parol soll gehen das Lied, Lidor Vador.
Thank you, Ann. Ann, thank you so very, very much. A song she sang when she was just a little girl. Thank you, Ann. Incredible. As I mentioned earlier, thank you, Ann. It was beautiful. Very beautiful, thank you. We are privileged to have Jewish partisans here with us tonight from many other brigades. We recognize you for your courage in the face of adversity, for the actions you took to end the horror of the Holocaust. As I call your names, please stand. Please hold your applause until everyone is standing. Sarah Betzo. Hello, it's so nice to see you. Hello, Mr. Betzo, very nice to see you. I see them every year. Moshe Barron. Mr. Barron. Hello, Mr. Barron. Chesha Blackman. Hello, Chesha. There she is. Frank Blackman. We're gonna clap, aren't we? Rose Holm. Yay, Rose. Ellen Kadenow. Ellen? Ellen Kadenow? Hello, Ellen. There she is, Ellen Kadenow. Eugene Katz. Eugene Katz. Hello, Mr. Katz. Alan Small. And now we've already heard a little bit, but it is my honor to introduce Mickey Bielski, the son of Tuvia, pardon me for mispronouncing it earlier, and Lilka Bielski. Mickey addresses many audiences about his family's remarkable story, tirelessly to preserve his family's legacy and to perpetuate their lessons. If we could just have a few more seconds of quiet, we invite Mr. Bielski to do the motzi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. I didn't really come up here to speak, but I felt like I had to just say something. Only because I feel really grateful to be able to spend time with all of you who are, at least in my eyes, my family. All of us, first, second, third generation, and the one to be coming the fourth, share a very special bond. A bond that was fought for with blood and tears. A bond that is still being paid for. We have a heritage that needs to be perpetuated. And I'm, again, grateful to be here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Earlier tonight, you saw the first of JPEF's newest films narrated by actor Liev Schreiber. I now invite you to watch the second film entitled The Bielski Legacy. This film will be available to educators worldwide, allowing them to bring the Bielskis' examples of resistance, leadership, and perseverance to young people everywhere. Please watch. What a powerful film that JPEF's hopes that this story of the Bielski partisans will empower generations of young people to take a stand and make a difference. Now we will move on, and we're just moments away from hearing our keynote speaker this evening. Growing up in Canada, Harry Kleczkowski learned about the Bielski brothers at a very young age. His parents, who had grown up in Lida, knew many Bielski partisans in the area, and through them became very friendly with Lilka and Tuvia Bielski, who were frequent guests in their home. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite Harry Kleczkowski to introduce our speaker, who will uplift us even more with some very important words. Harry?
Wow, what an evening. Thanks for coming. Honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, when thinking about the initiatives and achievements of Tuvia Bielski and his brothers, one is amazed and in awe of what their passionate and fierce commitment resulted in. The same passionate and fierce commitment to humanitarian values and goals is what characterizes the work and the lives of Professors Erwin Kotler and Alan Dershowitz. Unfortunately, Professor Kotler is ill and could not be here tonight. But Professor Dershowitz is here, and we're most grateful for that. In fact, what most of you do not know is that Professor Dershowitz canceled a previous speaking engagement on behalf of his most recent book, Taking the Stand, My Life in the Law, in order to be here with us tonight to pay tribute to the legacy of the Bielskis. The Bielskis chose to act as they did, not because they wanted to be heroes. They possessed courage and determination to preserve life and to fight back. Professors Dershowitz and Kotler share that same courage and determination in their ongoing advocacy and promotion of human rights to students, lawyers, judges, politicians, and the world at large. They strive to make a difference. More specifically, Professor Dershowitz is completing a 50-year career of teaching at Harvard, during which he has written 30 books, and he is still an avid fan of the Red Sox. I welcome Professor Dershowitz and Mitch Braff to share some inspiring comments.
This is for you.
Alan, thank you so much for coming here tonight. This is very exciting, especially as I think of little JPEF, but sometimes I look out in the crowd and the over 1 million kids we reach, and it's not little anymore. So thank you. It's very appropriate you're here tonight for our bar mitzvah celebration too. One thing I want to do so grateful you're coming is, this is your incredible book, Taking the Stand, My Life in the Law. I wanted to say that I hope that everyone goes out on Amazon tonight and checks this out.
Thank you.
So what I wanted to, we were just going to discuss a few points, but what do you think are the lessons for today that we can learn from Tuvia Bielski and his brothers? What can we learn?
Well, thank you. First of all, I wanted to mention my dear friend and colleague, Erwin Cutler. We were born connected at the hip. We are the closest of friends and the closest of colleagues, and he is always referred to as the Canadian Alan Dershowitz, and I'm referred to as the American Erwin Cutler. So although no one can ever replace Erwin, and he would have had incredibly wise and inspiring and important words for you tonight, it's actually a great privilege for me to be here, not only on behalf of myself, but on behalf of Erwin. I spoke to Erwin tonight through his coughing and very ill demeanor, but he asked me to please send his personal apologies, and he told me what he was going to say, and so take these answers as answers from both of us. First of all, a word from me. I am so inspired tonight. I am sitting here among real heroes. And as you know, I meet many, many very important people in my life. I have represented presidents, prime ministers, people of great renown. Tonight is different. Tonight is different. Tonight I am in the presence of genuine heroes. And I would like to ask the rabbis here a question, a she'elah. And that is this: why don't we have a bracha, a blessing for being in the presence of heroes? I think about that, and the closest I can come is Baruch Matir Asurim. Blessed are those who free the imprisoned. But that understates the heroism that we are in the presence of tonight. Tonight it's Baruch, blessed are those who have saved lives. And we know our Talmud teaches us that he who saves even a single human life, it is as if they have saved the whole world. And we understand the reason for that tonight, because every single person who was saved by the Bielski partisans has produced many, many, many others who may in fact save the world. I'm reminded my wife and I were in Berlin together a couple of years ago, and I was asked to speak to the Berlin Bar Association, group of 1,000 German lawyers. There may have been a half a dozen Jewish lawyers among them. And I asked a single question. I said, how many of you are victims of the Holocaust? And 2 or 3 people raised their hand, and I shook my head. And I said, how many of you have had members of your family die of cancer or heart disease or diabetes or other dreaded illnesses? Every hand in the audience went up. And I said, how can you be confident that the cures for those diseases did not go up in smoke at Auschwitz and Medallion and Treblinka? And everybody came over to me afterward and said, we are now survivors. And the opposite of that is everyone who was saved has saved so many other people. So I think there are many things that we can learn from the incredible bravery of the Bielski brothers and of all the people who risked their lives in the woods to save the lives of others. We can learn that saving the life of one person is saving the life of so many people. We can learn that failing to act to save the life of one person is the equivalent of taking the life not only of one person, but of so many other people. We can learn that courage is not something that you're necessarily born with. To quote the bard Shakespeare in Twelfth Night, when he talked about greatness, he said some people are born with greatness, others have greatness thrust upon them, others come to greatness. The same thing is true of courage. If you think about how the world would have been had Winston Churchill been listened to in the 1930s, and had Britain and France engaged in preventive war and destroyed the Nazi war machinery in 1935, 1936, before they became the most powerful military force in Europe. And we have to think of that as we think of Iran today and in the future, how important preventive war can be in saving millions and millions of lives. But if Churchill had been listened to and Chamberlain had been ignored, as he should have been, and how history has relegated him into the dustbin of history, we would never have heard of the Bielski brothers, and they would be here today saying, thank you for never having heard of us. We would much prefer to have lived our lives as obscure people working in our father's mill. They had courage and heroism thrust upon them unwillingly, involuntarily. They rose to the moment. They saw an opportunity. They had no alternative, ein brera, no choice, and they acted knowing that they had no choice. And so I think there are so many lessons that we have. Look, for young people here tonight, for people even my age here tonight, we're so lucky. We haven't had heroism thrust upon us. We've lived in good times. Israelis have had heroism thrust upon them, 67, 73, many other times. I worked closely with Erwin Cutler on Soviet Jewry, and we met real heroes. When we went to the Soviet Union in 1974, 1975, 78, 79, I was there repeatedly. Erwin actually got arrested in Moscow and was threatened with incarceration. But even Erwin was not a hero compared to the Idenudels, the Sharanskys, the Butmans, the Kuznetsovs, the Dimshitzes, the people who confronted the Soviet iron fist and risked their lives, some whose names we don't know because they died in the Gulag. These were people of great courage. Our hope, our prayer, is that none of you will ever have to show the kind of courage that the Bielskis showed. That's the prayer, that's the hope, that's the opposite of the Baruch Matir Asurim. But we don't know that. And there are young people here today who are bar mitzvah age or just a little older than mitzvah age. As Yogi Berra once put it, making predictions is very difficult, especially about the future. And none of us knows what the future holds. And none of us knows whether you will be called on, young people, to show heroism. Even today, young people are called on to show heroism. Let me tell you, you go to university today as an 18-year-old young man or woman, and you strongly support Israel and Israel's right to defend itself, you have to show heroism on that campus. You have to stand up. Not only to your peers, you have to stand up to your bigoted professors who have the power to give you grades. Let me tell you what one of my students did to show heroism. We have a bigoted professor at Harvard Law School named Duncan Kennedy, for whom Israel can do no right and terrorists can do no wrong. And he taught a course. He had no expertise on it. He knew nothing about it. He was a total ignoramus. I'm talking about one of my colleagues now, yes. Total ignoramus, but he was a tenured professor. And so he decided he wanted to teach a course on the Middle East conflict. He didn't know anything about it, but he had strong opinions. He's a member of the hard left. If you're a member of the hard left, you have to have strong opinions, and they have to be anti-Israel, and you have to teach them and propagandize in the classroom. So he taught the class. A student of mine, a young man, decided he would take the class. And so he asked Professor Kennedy to assign readings that were balanced. He gave him a whole curriculum. He said, here's this article you assigned. Let me give you an article that shows a different perspective on it. Among the articles was a chapter from my book, The Case for Israel. And this young man, the teacher said, no, this is my course. I will teach it the way I want. The young man walked up to the professor and said, no, you won't. This is a marketplace of ideas. And what I'm going to do is I'm putting my curriculum on the website, and I am standing up before the class begins. I am urging every student in the class to read my material along with your material. And he did that, and every student read it, and he won. He won in the marketplace of ideas. Students came away from that class believing the case for Israel rather than the case against Israel. That takes courage. I don't know what grade the teacher gave him, because grades are secret, but let me tell you, he risked his grades, he risked his career, because he knew he was doing the right thing. This is not Bielski courage. This is not partisan courage. We haven't been called on for that, thank God. But this is courage in the face of bigotry in the United States of America today. Imagine if you're a European student confronting the bigotry of Oxford or Cambridge University or the University of Paris or the Sorbonne. There you really have to show courage. When I spoke in Canada recently, I know there are people here from Toronto, you may remember this. I had to have armed people, police on the stage, and they had to give me a bulletproof vest to speak about Israel on a university campus. My life has been repeatedly threatened. I don't have courage. I don't need courage. I can speak. I'm not worried. But today, to speak about Israel and to make the case for Israel on many university campuses, you need to have courage. So that's what we can learn from the Bielskis. These are eternal messages. They are, we hear about a man for all seasons. This is a lesson for all seasons. Nobody is immune. Nobody is exempt from needing to learn the lessons of the Bielski brothers and the partisans.
It's one of the part of what we teach, as you know, is the history and the life lessons of the partisans. Right. And we have three lessons that we teach the young people. One is that young people can stand up and make a difference, that they can be vehicles of change. Secondly, we must stand up to discrimination, oppression, anti-Semitism, but early. Right. We know we need to stand up, but early is important. And thirdly is never give up. Do you think young people today are willing on living out these life lessons and fighting for them?
It's a very, very good question and a very difficult question. I want to add one more element to your list of three, with all due respect, and I learned that as well tonight from watching that film and listening to so many of you who have connections to the partisans. The other lesson we have to learn is self-reliance. As Elie Wiesel once put it, for him the lesson of the Holocaust is always believe the threats of your enemies more than the promises of your friends. Everybody who lived through the Holocaust, or who didn't live through the Holocaust, understands what that means. Everybody promised help, nobody delivered. That's a lesson that Israel is learning in the world today. It has become self-reliant. It has an air force sufficient to defend itself. It doesn't have to worry like the Syrians have to worry about whether Congress will approve the president's decision to use weapons after red lines were crossed. Israel has its own red lines. Israel has the capacity, the ability, the willingness to enforce those red lines without worrying about whether or not there will be American congressional approval. I remember sitting in the Oval Office with the President of the United States talking about Iran, and I said to him, Mr. President, would you outsource to another country America's defense of its own citizens? He said, of course not. That was the aha moment. Aha? Do you expect Israel to outsource the defense of its own citizens to another country, even one who it loves and respects and admires, the United States of America? Israel must make its own decisions. Israel must rely on itself. The Bielskis built a city, Jerusalem, in the woods because they had to defend and depend on themselves. There was no one else they can depend upon. They couldn't depend upon the Belarusian partisans. We couldn't depend upon the Russian partisans. They couldn't wait for America to come and rescue them. They could depend only on themselves. And that is a tragic lesson that Jews have to learn. Being morally superior is not good enough. We have to have the physical, military capacity always to defend the Jewish people, to defend the Jewish state. How many times a week do we say the following prayer? Hashem oz li'amo yitain, Hashem yavarech et amo b'shalom. God will give the Jewish people oz, strength, and only then will the Jewish people ever get peace. That was another lesson of the Holocaust. Strength, military strength, physical strength of the kind the Bielskis showed must be an aspect of Jewish life. We cannot defend the Jewish people through our books. We cannot defend the Jewish people through our morality alone. We have to use our morality to constrain our physical weapons and our acts, but we always must have the physical capacity and the self-reliance to depend on ourselves. Will our young people rise to that occasion? Yes, they will. And they will especially if they are exposed to this. Every young person seeing this film, every young person seeing Defiance the movie, every young person exposed to your curriculum, every young person who understands what the partisans did will be proud, will be willing to stand up, but they have to know, they have to be educated. That's why you're doing such a phenomenal, important job of educating our next generation of heroes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, what a privilege for me just to be in the presence of such heroism. I have to tell you, I'm going to take this back with me to Harvard. I teach 18-year-old students on Thursday. I teach a course called Where Does Your Morality Come From? I want a clip to show that to my 18-year-old students who come from every background, every religion, every ethnicity. I want to show it to my law students in my classes on morality. This is so important. This has to become a universal lesson for the Jewish community, for everybody who loves democracy, loves freedom, and is insistent on resisting tyranny and resisting genocide and resisting oppression. So I love your motto, resist. I love Tuvya's statement when you compare that to if there were a dinner today honoring people from the Palestinian Authority, from Hamas. Can you imagine any of them identifying with the statement, I'd rather save one Jewish woman than kill 10 Nazis? You know, the Jewish people have always had a biblical motto, Uvacharta b'chayim, choose life. Choose life. Pikuach nefesh, the saving of life. We value life. And nothing tells that story more than the Bielski story and the partisan story. Keep telling it. Chazak v'amatz, may you go from strength to strength. Thank you.
Is anybody tweeting that? Okay. So it gives me, now I know we're chatting a little bit, this is a very important time here. We are very lucky to have Aaron Bell, one of 12 Bielski children, the last surviving Bielski brother. Aaron is going to come up with his son, Alan, and say a few words about his brothers. Please welcome Aaron and Alan Bell.
I think my son Alan knows better English than I do. So let him be my keeper.
And my father knows perfect English, but when Mitch and I told him he was going to speak, he told me, "No, Alan, you're going to speak." And as usual, I said, "Yes, sir."
Thank you.
Sometimes I call him sir, sometimes admiral, but I always say, "Yes, sir." It's a special privilege and honor for me to be standing at my father's side and witness him receiving this special recognition. He graciously accepts these accolades as the last surviving Bielski sibling, and with esteemed respect to his late parents, brothers, and sisters, he acknowledges the iconic Bielski partisan narrative and its unique historical marker as an exemplar of defiance and resistance. It's sadly ironic that my beloved grandparents, David and Bella Bielski, parents to the brothers Tuvia, Zeus, Asoel, Aaron, Walter, Nathan, Joshua, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and sisters Taiba and Estelle, were not able to be among the 1,200 Jews saved by my uncles. I was heartened to recently visit and say Kaddish at my grandparents' grave with my father and cousin David Bielski Herstall. It's a memorial and mass grave site in which they and 18,000 fellow Jews from the Novogrodic area in today's Belarus were martyred. May their memories never be forgotten and inspire future generations to resist oppression. God bless them, Israel, and the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan and Aaron Bell, for sharing your insights about the family. Earlier this evening, I mentioned that there are more than 150 descendants of the Bielski Otriad in this room. I now invite you all to stand, please. All in this room tonight. Thank you. As a teenager, Ray Kushner escaped through a tunnel from the Novogrodic ghetto with her father and her sister Lisa. They found refuge with the Bielski Otriad. She remained lifelong friends with Tuvia and Zush, celebrating many life cycle events together throughout the years. Please join me in welcoming granddaughter of Ray and Joe Kushner, Nicole Meyer, and the grandson of Zush and Sonia Bielski, and co-chairperson of JPEF's 3G committee, Matthew Bielski. From the quiet side of the room, It's your cheering section over here, Matthew. Nice to meet you.
Before we begin, I think we just want to thank Mitch, really, for this very special evening. As grandchildren of survivors and partisans, this really is a very meaningful event for the both of us. So thank you. Throughout the night, we have focused on the central themes of leadership and courage. It was the leadership and courage of Tuvia Bielski, your grandfather Zeus, and their brothers Asael and Aaron, who we are so lucky to have with us tonight, that make us who we are. As a member of the third generation of survivors, I know how important it is to keep the legacy of our grandparents alive, as I am involved with Yad Vashem and other 3G groups to make certain that their stories and lessons are shared for generations to come. And it is up to us to make sure this happens.
70 years ago, our grandparents fought against the Nazis. Today, we are sitting in a room honoring some of the same people who changed Jewish history forever. It is estimated that there are approximately 30,000 Jews alive today because of the Bielskis. 30,000. If you do the math, there are approximately 13 to 15 million Jews in the entire world. What does that mean? 1 out of every 450 Jewish person alive today is alive because of the Bielskis. Back to the script. As descendants of Jewish partisans, it is our duty to keep their candle lit. For the past few months, the 3G committee, which I co-chair with Stacy Kaplan, searched for partisan grandchildren who have perpetuated the legacy of their grandparents. We received 19 nominations across 3 different continents. You will find the names of each person nominated and their respective grandparents on your program list at your tables. Each were inspired by the grandparents' legacy and contributed to strengthening the Jewish people. They include rabbis, educators, artists, and leaders.
We invite you to watch a short film about the work of some of tonight's 3G nominees. I'm truly in awe by all of the work that we see here and that has been featured in this film this evening. You are all really making an important impact. Tonight we give special recognition to 7 of you. As we call your names, please come to the stage to be recognized. The certificates of the 3G recognition, I think, will be presented by Ms. Holmes. Is she here? She's coming. Okay. A Jewish partisan from the Greenspan Partisan Brigade, and by Stacy Kaplan. Okay, just wait a minute.
So the first person, in light of Mr. Dershowitz's speech, here's somebody who was not American, who did face tyranny, his name is Yonatan Yo-Yo Bielski Weinstein. He is the grandson of Asael and Chaya Bielski from the Bielski Orchard. He served and is currently serving as battalion commander in the IDF Special Forces, Sayeret Givati. To prepare his soldiers for war in Gaza and Lebanon, he shares the inspiring stories of his grandfather's mission 70 years ago. He currently is making a documentary about Asael and teaches the Bielski story to children in schools and IDF generals.
Courtney M. McLeod is the granddaughter of Israel Gervitz of the Vilna Partisan Brigade. Courtney wrote and directed the play The Boys from the Ashes about the partisan experience of her grandfather. The play toured throughout South Africa. She writes and speaks in public about the Jewish partisan experience.
Rabbi Zev Johnson is grandson of Leah Bitzwaski Johnson and Velvel Wolf Johnson of the Bielski Partisan Tribute. We are thrilled to have Leah here with us tonight. Zev is director of Chabad Jewish Student Center at the University of Texas. Under his leadership, the center has grown exponentially, reinvigorating Jewish life on campus.
Tanya Johnson, who is the granddaughter of Leah Bielski Johnson and Velva Wolf Johnson. With two honorees from the same family, the partisan influence is very apparent. Tanya regularly gathers grandchildren of Holocaust survivors, engaging them in 3G activities in the Dallas area. She leads birthright trips to Israel, making special presentations about the Jewish partisans when they visit Yad Vashem.
Amanda Lapidus is the granddaughter of Ruth and Solomon Lapidus, who served with the Bielski, Chikalov, Leninsky, and Orlansky Orchiads. Unfortunately, Amanda could not be here tonight, but I'm sure Sal would be happy to accept it in her honor. Amanda served as president of the Leda Memorial Society for 6 years. During her tenure, she expanded third-generation partisan participation and helped secure money for the upkeep of the Jewish cemetery in Leda.
Michal, who I've had the privilege to sit next to this evening, is the granddaughter of Sarah and Charles Bedzow, and who served in the Gulliver Forest and the Bielski Partisan Tribute, respectively. Michal founded the Bina School, an all-girls Jewish middle day school and high school, nationally recognized for its commitment to affordable Jewish education and emphasis on global citizenship in Jewish education. A Holocaust course, which includes JPEF materials on the Jewish partisans, is a mandatory part of the curriculum.
Rabbi Aryeh Smith, the grandson of Strulik and Faya Porter, who both serve with Kruk Max Orchiad. Aryeh is director of the National Conference of Synagogue Youth for Long Island, AK, and CSY. He lectures about Jewish partisans, brings youth to Israel and Poland to raise historical awareness, and brings Jewish mothers to Israel to strengthen Jewish pride. Please give our 2013 3G honorees a round of applause. Just hold on one second because he's on his way. On behalf of 3G, I want to thank Stacy Gasworth Kaplan for chairing this event with me, and to once again applaud all of our nominees for their leadership and hard work. There are more than 85 3Gers here tonight, and we hope to see you at the 3G after party. The address is at a bar, of course. 20 West 38th Street between 5th and 6th, drinks on the house, I think, or not, on the house.
"3G, that's third generation. Isn't that what it's all about? Fantastic. Congratulations. Mazel tov to those young honorees this evening. Very, very important work that they're doing. Please now, first of all, I hope you've had a wonderfully inspiring evening, as I have once again. Before we go, we are going to join Matthew and Ilan Bielski and Jonathan Bielski Weinstein, each of whom served on the Israeli Defense Forces, as we close with the Hatikva, the hope was Shira. I recognize your hair from here. I said, that's Shira Ginsburg right there, who we saw up here and who sang a couple of years ago at the JPEF dinner. Just a beautiful presentation then, and she's going to lead us. And Mitch has a few more words. All right. Please welcome to the stage Ms. Shira Ginsburg.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. As we always end things on a positive note with what we call a nechemta, I invite all of us to end this evening on a positive note and sing Hatikva together. So if you would all rise, please. And here are the words. Kol hod balevav pinima nefesh Yehudi homia ulfatei mizrach kadima ayin letzion Sophia od lovda tikvateinu hatikva bat shnot alpayim liot am chofshi be'artzeinu Eretz Zion Yerushalayim liot am chofshi be'artzeinu Eretz Zion Yerushalayim. Next year in Israel.
Mitch and I are double teaming it here. A beautiful evening.
Have a good night. We're going to have a little dessert if you'd like to stick around. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you, Bielski Partisans. Thank you, 3G.